Welcome to my channel Valuable Coins, All World. If you've ever wondered if those old coins you have lying around could be worth a fortune, you're in the right place. In today's video, we're diving into some of the rarest US coins, revealing their jaw-dropping values that will leave you amazed. Stick with us till the end. You won't want to miss what these hidden treasures could be worth. Let's get started. Top 1. In the heart of American coin collecting, there are stories hidden in copper. Tales of overlooked treasures and ordinary coins that have become legendary over time. Among these incredible finds is a coin most people would pass by without a second glance, the 1973 Lincoln 1-cent penny. But don't be fooled by its small size or common appearance. This coin, minted in a year of political tension, economic transformation, and shifting cultural tides, holds a story that bridges history, artistry, and immense value. Let's take a journey back to 1973. The United States was in the middle of the Vietnam War's final years. Watergate was unfolding, and inflation was creeping into American life. In the pockets of everyday Americans jingled the familiar sound of the Lincoln cent, a coin that had already been circulating since 1909. Victor David Brenner's portrait of Abraham Lincoln still graced the obverse, just as it had for decades, symbolizing strength, unity, and a nation built on resilience. But beneath the familiar face of Lincoln lies something far more fascinating, a window into the craftsmanship of the U.S. Mint and the incredible attention to detail that can turn a humble coin into a historic masterpiece. The reverse of the coin, at that time, displayed the Lincoln Memorial, a design by Frank Gasparo that had been in use since 1959. A closer look at that design reveals a tiny, seated figure of Lincoln inside the monument. An extraordinary feature for such a small coin and a testament to the Mint's dedication to fine detail. Now, in 1973, the Lincoln penny was struck at 3 primary locations: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. Each mint contributed to the more than 5 billion pennies produced that year, with the Philadelphia coins lacking a mint mark, while the Denver and San Francisco coins bore a D and S, respectively. At first glance, there was nothing unusual about these coins. They were made from the traditional bronze alloy of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc, a composition that would soon change just a decade later due to rising copper prices. But the magic of the 1973 Lincoln cent lies not just in its minting location or design. It lies in the rare instances when everything went exceptionally right, or when something subtly went wrong. That's when value skyrockets. Coins that were struck with extraordinary clarity, known as full red, RD, coins, show a brilliance that collectors dream of. When such a coin is preserved in flawless condition, never circulated, never scratched, never exposed to the wear and tear of pockets and purses, it becomes something incredibly rare. Then there are the errors, those accidental miracles of the minting process that transform a routine coin into a coveted rarity. In 1973, there were several types of striking errors that have since become the target of eager collectors. These include off-center strikes, double dies, clipped planchets, and die cracks. Each one tells a unique story of the minting process gone slightly askew, producing a coin that is one of a kind. Double die obverse are especially prized because they result in a doubling of features like the date or lettering, clearly visible even to the naked eye. For most coins, their journey ends in circulation, gradually fading with each exchange. But a tiny handful of 1973 Lincoln pennies avoided that fate. Instead of being tossed into jars or worn down through everyday use, they were tucked away in bank rolls, coin albums, or mint sets. And some of them were kept in such pristine condition that decades later, they still shine with the same luster as the day they were struck. These are the coins that grading services like PCGS and NGC evaluate with microscopic precision, assigning them grades like MS67 or MS68, the highest possible scores for coins that show no signs of wear and boast immaculate surfaces. One such coin, gleaming, nearly flawless, and preserved beyond expectation, recently stunned collectors and dealers at a major auction. It was a 1973 Lincoln cent that stood out from every other example. Its condition was impeccable. The coin had a rich, reddish tone, sharp edges, and razor-clear details on both the obverse and reverse. It was the best of the best, a once-in-a-generation find. Collectors knew that such a coin with its historical significance, outstanding preservation, and extreme rarity in top condition, would not go unnoticed, and they were right. The bidding war erupted quickly, with offers climbing higher and higher as passionate numismatists competed for the chance to own this numismatic marvel. The coin represented not just copper and craftsmanship, but an enduring symbol of American history and the thrill of the hunt that drives collectors worldwide. When the final bid was placed and the auctioneer's gavel fell, the crowd was left in awe. The 1973 Lincoln penny, once worth just a single cent, had achieved a remarkable sale price. That tiny coin, smaller than a quarter, lighter than a feather, yet rich in history and condition, was sold for an extraordinary sum of $135,000. It's stories like this that remind us why we love coins. They are time travelers, storytellers, and hidden treasures. And sometimes, just sometimes, they're worth far more than anyone ever imagined. So check your change. Look closely at the pennies resting in that old coffee can. Because one day, you might be the lucky one who discovers a copper gem worth $135,000. Top 2. In the world of coin collecting, there are certain years that pass quietly, with no immediate hint of fame or fortune. And then there are years like 1976, seemingly ordinary at the time, yet holding within them tiny treasures of immense historical and financial value. Among these hidden gems is the 1976 Lincoln 1-cent penny, a coin that most people overlooked, tossed in their pockets, and forgot about as they walked through their daily lives in the bicentennial year of the United States. But today, collectors look back on that small copper coin with a renewed sense of wonder. Why? Because in a handful of cases, what was once worth just a penny has transformed into a remarkable prize. 1976 was a year of celebration across the United States. It marked the 200th anniversary of the signing of the Declaration of Independence, and patriotic energy surged throughout the nation. Red, white, and blue decorated cities and commemorative coins, stamps, and memorabilia were issued in great numbers. But while the U.S. Mint produced special bicentennial designs for the quarter, half dollar, and dollar, the humble Lincoln cent kept its classic appearance. Abraham Lincoln's profile on the obverse and the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse. Despite its unchanged look, this penny would prove to be more remarkable than most collectors realized at the time. Designed by Victor David Brenner, the portrait of Lincoln remained a powerful symbol of freedom and unity. His stern but noble gaze captured the resilience of the American spirit, especially meaningful in a year that celebrated the country's founding ideals. The reverse, designed by Frank Gasparo, depicted the Lincoln Memorial in stunning detail, and if you looked closely enough, you could even spot the statue of Lincoln seated within the monument. An incredible example of intricate craftsmanship on such a small scale that in 1976, the U.S. Mint produced Lincoln cents at its 3 major facilities: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. The Philadelphia coins carried no mint mark, while Denver's bore a D, and San Francisco's carried the S. These coins were struck in a bronze alloy composed of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc, soon to become a composition of the past, as rising copper prices would force a change just a few years later. More than 4 billion pennies were minted that year, flooding the country with change, but hidden in that ocean of coins were a few rare pieces that would one day be worth far more than anyone could imagine. So, what makes the 1976 Lincoln penny so special? For starters, condition is everything in coin collecting. A coin that was never circulated, never scratched, and kept in perfect preservation is far more valuable than one that passed through dozens of hands. These uncirculated coins are graded by professional services using the Sheldon scale, which ranges from 1 to 70. A grade of MS-67 or MS-68, indicating near-perfect quality, is incredibly rare for a coin that was mass-produced and expected to be used daily. Only a few 1976 Lincoln pennies have ever been found in this pristine condition, but there's more to the story. Some of these coins also possess unusual characteristics known as mint errors, tiny mistakes made during production that result in one-of-a-kind pieces. These errors might include off-center strikes, double dies, clipped planchets, or die cracks. The most coveted of these errors are the double die obverse varieties, in which the date or the words "In God We Trust" appear doubled, creating a mesmerizing and valuable variation. Such errors occur when the coin die strikes the planchet more than once, but slightly misaligned. For collectors, these are like gold mines, rare, exciting, and exceptionally valuable. Some collectors were wise enough to spot the potential in these coins early on. They held on to flawless examples, protecting them from the elements and time. Decades later, those decisions have paid off handsomely. Coins submitted to grading services like PCGS or NGC and found to be in top-grade condition now command attention from collectors and investors across the globe. When one of these rare 1976 Lincoln cents appears at a major coin auction, the excitement is palpable. Experts assess every detail: its luster, strike sharpness, surface preservation, and color quality. And when all of those traits align perfectly, the bidding begins. One such coin, struck to perfection, with no visible marks and an extraordinary red luster, captured the attention of an entire room. Collectors from around the world placed their bids, recognizing the rarity of what was in front of them. This wasn't just a coin, it was a slice of American history, preserved for nearly 50 years in a flawless state. Every detail from Lincoln's hair to the fine columns of the memorial was sharp and brilliant. The bidding escalated quickly, a testament to how rare and sought after a perfect 1976 penny had become. And when the final gavel struck, the auction house fell silent for a moment, absorbing the shock of the final result. That humble Lincoln penny, struck during America's bicentennial and preserved in nearly perfect condition, had just sold for an astonishing total. A coin once worth only 1 cent was now valued at $120,000. So the next time you find an old penny in your change jar, don't be so quick to dismiss it, especially if it's from 1976, because you might just be holding the key to a small piece of American history, and perhaps even a fortune worth $120,000. Top 3. In the heart of American coinage history lies a coin so small in size, yet so monumental in significance that it continues to capture the fascination of collectors across the world. The Lincoln 1-cent penny from 1977, an unassuming copper coin with a face value of just 1 cent, has quietly earned a place in the numismatic spotlight. With its rich history, intricate design, and rare variations, the 1977 Lincoln penny is far more than just pocket change. It's a story waiting to be uncovered, a treasure hidden in plain sight, and for a few lucky collectors, it's a key to unlocking unbelievable value. Let's journey back to the year 1977. America was in a period of transformation. The nation was adjusting to a post-Watergate era, popular culture was thriving, and disco music filled the airwaves. Amidst this backdrop, the U.S. Mint continued its tireless work, producing millions of coins each day to fuel the economy. Among those coins was the ever-reliable Lincoln cent, a staple of American currency since 1909. The obverse, still graced by the noble profile of President Abraham Lincoln, remained one of the most enduring and respected images in American coinage. Designed by Victor David Brenner, this portrait had already etched itself into the collective consciousness of the country for nearly 7 decades. On the reverse of the 1977 Lincoln penny, the Lincoln Memorial stands in stunning detail, crafted by the skilled hand of Frank Gasparo. This design, introduced in 1959 to honor the 150th anniversary of Lincoln's birth, was more than symbolic. It was architectural art on a copper canvas. The fine lines of the monument, the minute columns, and even the tiny depiction of the seated Lincoln statue nestled inside the memorial made this design an extraordinary feat of engraving precision. And every single penny minted carried this work of art, available to every citizen for just 1 cent that year. The coins were minted at 2 primary facilities, Philadelphia and Denver. The Philadelphia minted coins bore no mint mark, while the Denver coins were marked with a small d just beneath the date. Over 4.4 billion Lincoln cents were produced in 1977. So the question becomes, how can something so common hold so much value? The answer lies in condition, rarity, and striking errors that turn a simple coin into a collector's dream. Let's begin with condition. Most pennies from 1977 went directly into circulation. They jostled through pockets, clinked inside piggy banks, and were exchanged countless times. These coins show signs of wear, scratches, discoloration, and fading detail. But a select few were never spent. They were preserved in pristine, untouched condition, kept in coin rolls or coin books by collectors, or simply forgotten in storage for decades. These uncirculated examples, graded as MS66, MS67, or higher, are incredibly rare today, and their value rises dramatically depending on their grade. And then there are the errors. Oh, how a tiny mistake during minting can change everything. Imagine a double die obverse, a misalignment in the die that results in doubled lettering or a shadowed date, or a coin struck off-center, with part of the design cut off. There are even coins struck on the wrong planchet, giving them an odd color, weight, or thickness. These errors, when confirmed and graded, elevate the coin from ordinary to extraordinary. Collectors go to great lengths to acquire such rare examples, often paying thousands, or even tens of thousands, just to secure one for their collection. What's fascinating about the 1977 Lincoln penny is that it blends historical importance with numismatic mystery. It hails from an era where the copper composition was still intact, 95% copper and 5% zinc, giving the coin a rich, reddish-brown tone that glows under light when preserved. In 1982, just 5 years later, the U.S. Mint transitioned to a zinc-based planchet with only a thin copper coating. So the 1977 cent represents one of the last pure copper years before a significant shift in the coin's identity. Now picture this: a single 1977 Lincoln penny, flawless in condition, graded as MS67 plus red, gleaming with its original mint luster, and showing no signs of blemish or wear. Such a coin is the holy grail for penny collectors. When one of these appears at auction, the excitement builds. Collectors from all over the world prepare to bid, each hoping to win a piece of American history. The bidding rises quickly, not just because of the coin's rarity, but because of what it represents, a bridge between the everyday and the extraordinary. And finally, there comes that magical moment. The gavel strikes, the bidding ends, and a lucky collector becomes the new guardian of a 1977 Lincoln penny in virtually perfect condition. Not just any penny, but one that holds a story, a history, and a value that defies its humble origins. That very coin, in all its brilliance and perfection, reached an auction price that shocked even the most seasoned collectors. It wasn't thousands, nor tens of thousands. It was a staggering amount that left everyone in awe. That 1-cent coin, born in the mint presses of 1977 and preserved through time, was valued at $115,000. Top 4. The Lincoln 1-cent penny from 1978 may seem like just another coin, small, ordinary, and easily overlooked in a handful of change. But for those who know the hidden treasures of numismatics, this penny carries far more than a simple face value. It carries history, art, and in some rare cases, an extraordinary monetary value that has stunned collectors and sparked widespread interest among coin hunters across the globe. The 1978 Lincoln penny, minted at the close of a transformative decade for the United States, is one of those special coins that bridges the gap between the familiar and the fantastic. To understand the significance of the 1978 Lincoln cent, we must first go back to its origins. The Lincoln penny was first issued in 1909, a historic release that marked the centennial of Abraham Lincoln's birth and introduced the first real person to appear on a U.S. coin. Designed by Victor David Brenner, Lincoln's portrait has graced the obverse of the penny ever since, becoming the most iconic and enduring figure in American coinage. By the time 1978 rolled around, this design had been in use for nearly 70 years, a tribute to Lincoln's lasting legacy and the public's continued reverence for one of the nation's most beloved presidents. The 1978 penny continued with the same trusted design. On the obverse, Lincoln's thoughtful gaze is captured in intricate detail, with the motto, "In God We Trust," arched above his head and the date 1978 standing proudly to the right. The reverse side featured the stately Lincoln Memorial, introduced in 1959 to replace the previous Wheat Ears design. Created by Frank Gasparo, this depiction of the national monument is more than symbolic. It contains remarkable detail, even a tiny seated Lincoln visible between the columns, demonstrating the mint's precision and artistry. In that year, the U.S. Mint produced pennies at multiple facilities. Philadelphia produced coins with no mint mark, while Denver issued coins marked with a small d under the date. Billions of Lincoln pennies were struck in 1978, over 5.5 billion from Philadelphia, and more than 4.2 billion from Denver. On the surface, that would suggest these coins are common, and for the vast majority, that's true. Most ended up in circulation, clanging inside drawers, slipping between couch cushions, or disappearing into vending machines. But what separates the extraordinary from the ordinary is condition, rarity, and anomalies that occur during the minting process. You see, even among billions, perfection is rare. Coins graded in mint state condition, especially at levels MS66, MS67, or higher, are exceptionally hard to find. These are coins that were never circulated, never touched by human hands after minting, preserved in rolls or collector albums with their original luster intact. Such pristine examples are rare, and their value grows exponentially with every step up the grading scale. Yet, there's another layer to the value of the 1978 penny, errors, and die varieties. These are the unexpected treasures that escape quality control and accidentally reach the public. Some of the most valuable 1978 pennies include double die obverse examples, where the date and letters appear slightly double due to a misalignment in the die. Others may include off-center strikes, clipped planchets, or coins that were struck on the wrong metal, giving them an unusual appearance or weight. These mint errors, when authenticated by grading services, are highly sought after in the collector's world. And then there's the matter of copper. Until 1982, Lincoln pennies were made with 95% copper and 5% zinc. This means that the 1978 penny was among the last to be made with this heavier, richer metal before the transition to copper-plated zinc. The pre-1982 copper pennies not only feel different, they age differently, often displaying a beautiful reddish-golden tone when kept in excellent condition. For many collectors, the copper composition itself adds a layer of historical value and authenticity, as it represents a material integrity that was lost in later years. Now imagine this scenario: a 1978 Lincoln penny, never circulated, preserved in flawless condition, rich in copper color, and free from even the slightest blemish. Add to that a rare doubling error on the obverse, visible under magnification, making it one of the few known examples of its kind. The coin is submitted to a professional grading service, authenticated, and awarded a top-tier grade. It's a coin that turns heads at auctions, sparks bidding wars, and draws collectors from every corner of the hobby. The market for rare Lincoln pennies has grown rapidly over the past decade. As more collectors enter the field and older coins become harder to find in high grades, the demand far outpaces the supply. Coins that were once overlooked are now commanding incredible sums, and the humble penny is no longer dismissed as mere pocket change. It's now a potential windfall for anyone lucky enough to discover the right specimen. And so, the 1978 Lincoln penny stands as a perfect symbol of this transformation. It tells the story of America's evolving coinage, of hidden gems hiding in plain sight, and of the power of preservation and patience. For collectors, it's a reminder that value isn't always obvious. It's discovered through curiosity, knowledge, and attention to detail. One such 1978 Lincoln cent, struck with a rare die error and preserved in immaculate condition, captured the attention of seasoned numismatists at a major auction event. Bidding rose steadily, climbing higher and higher as collectors recognized the uniqueness of what was on the table. By the time the final gavel struck, the once humble penny had become the centerpiece of an extraordinary moment in coin collecting history. That single coin, originally worth just 1 cent, sold for $115,000. Top 5. In the world of coin collecting, few pieces carry the subtle mystique and surprising value of the United States Lincoln 1-cent penny. And among the many dates that have captivated collectors' attention over the years, the 1979 Lincoln cent stands as a fascinating example of how an ordinary piece of change can become an extraordinary treasure. While billions of these coins were struck and circulated, a select few possess qualities so rare and pristine that they've sparked bidding wars and inspired passionate interest among numismatists. Today, we dive deep into the history, design, production quirks, and the hidden secrets that make the 1979 Lincoln penny more than just a copper coin. It's a symbol of unexpected worth, quiet beauty, and thrilling discovery. Let's rewind the clock to 1979. It was a time of transition for the United States. A new decade was on the horizon, technology was advancing rapidly, and inflation had a firm grip on the economy. Pennies were still made from 95% copper and 5% zinc, a composition that would soon change in just a few years due to the rising cost of copper. This means the 1979 penny is part of the final generation of true copper cents, giving it added historic and material significance. Holding one in your hand feels different. It's heavier, warmer in tone, and rich with a reddish-brown patina that only genuine copper can offer. The obverse of the 1979 penny features the familiar, time-honored portrait of Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner. His dignified profile, etched with care and reverence, has been a constant presence on U.S. since 1909. Above Lincoln's head is the national motto, "In God We Trust," while to the left is the word "Liberty," and to the right, the date, 1979. Some of these coins bear a small, deep mint mark, indicating they were struck in Denver, while others come from Philadelphia and lack a mint mark entirely. Both types were minted in the billions, but not all were created equal. The reverse side of the coin, designed by Frank Gasparo, presents the Lincoln Memorial in Washington, D.C. With remarkable detail, it's even possible to see a tiny depiction of the seated Lincoln between the pillars. Above it reads United States of America, and beneath, the denomination, 1 cent. This design had been in use for 20 years by 1979 and was beloved for its symbolism and architectural beauty. But for collectors, what lies beneath the surface is even more captivating. Most of the 1979 Lincoln pennies you'll encounter are worn, circulated, and valued at face value. They pass through countless hands, vending machines, and cash registers. But there are a few rare specimens, pennies that never entered circulation, that were stored carefully, untouched, and preserved in mint condition. These are the coins that spark the true excitement, especially those that exhibit flawless surfaces, brilliant luster, and exceptionally sharp strikes. The professional grading services assign these coins numerical scores, and only those graded MS-67 or higher enter the elite circle of investment-worthy rarities. But mint condition isn't the only factor driving up the value of certain 1979 Lincoln cents. Minting errors, which happen accidentally during the coin production process, can turn a regular penny into a collector's dream. Some 1979 cents display doubling on the date or lettering, an effect known as a double die. Others have off-center strikes, clipped planchets, or are struck on the wrong metal, giving them a lighter or heavier weight than expected. These anomalies are rare, but when verified, they're extremely valuable. Imagine finding one such coin, perfect in every way, with a sharp strike, full original red color, and a rare error visible under magnification. Perhaps it was forgotten in an old roll or tucked away in a family collection, only to be rediscovered decades later. The moment of realization that a penny, something you could have spent on a piece of gum, might be worth thousands, or even tens of thousands, is what drives collectors and treasure hunters alike. Collectors today are paying more attention to Lincoln cents than ever before. With the rise of online marketplaces, auction platforms, and grading services, it's now easier to buy, sell, and verify rare coins. The 1979 Lincoln penny, because of its material composition and design era, has become especially desirable to those who want to complete a set of high-grade, pre-1982 copper cents. For serious collectors, assembling such a collection in top condition is a challenge, and the competition for rare gems is fierce. In the world of high-stakes coin collecting, a 1979 Lincoln penny in extraordinary condition and with the right combination of factors, error, luster, rarity, and historical context, can become a prize worth fighting for. These coins aren't just metal discs, they're artifacts of American history, miniature works of art, and, in rare instances, financial assets of stunning value. One particular 1979 Lincoln cent, preserved in flawless condition with a confirmed double die obverse, graded at the highest level and coveted for its perfect copper sheen and striking clarity, stunned the numismatic world when it appeared at a major auction. After an intense round of bidding from seasoned collectors and investors, this seemingly ordinary penny, born in the final stretch of the copper era, sold for a jaw-dropping sum. That single Lincoln 1 cent coin from 1979 brought in $110,000.